What's up guys, my name is Aaron and this is going to be my review of X-Men Apocalypse. This movie is directed by Bryan Singer and it stars James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Oscar Isaac, and a bunch of other people. It's about Apocalypse, this ancient mutant who comes back to life and he's threatening to cleanse the world and destroy the world essentially and make it a new place. And the X-Men from the 80s, they have to form together and try to stop him. I was excited for this movie. I like the X-Men movies that have come out, especially the newer ones. I really like how they have a different a time period in each one, and I'm a really big fan of Michael Fassbender as Magneto. I feel like his story is really compelling and he's just a really good actor, so I'm excited to go see these movies. I was kind of surprised by the negative reaction with this movie. There are some problems with the movie, but I feel like it's a pretty decent movie. I love how bright and vivid the cinematography is. The colors are popping. Really reminds me of a comic book, a panel. And the fight scenes, whenever they do happen in the movie, they're very easy to watch. And I like action movies that don't do unnecessary cuts and stuff like that. It just makes for an easier watch for me, and I enjoy the cinematography and how everything was shot in this movie. Like Days of Future Past, I like how this movie was pretty restrained. Even though it's lighter on the heavier topics that X movies usually tackle, I feel like it's more restrained than Marvel movies or Batman vs Superman. It's really quieter, and I enjoy the balance between quieter moments and then the action scenes. It kind of gives more weight whenever there are action scenes. I feel like the new cast is really fun, and I enjoy seeing them whenever they get a chance to be on screen. Quicksilver is one of my favorite characters. I love that character from Days of Future Past. He gets a little bit more things to do in this movie. He has a really cool scene that I really enjoy. Probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire year. I like the actor that played Scott Summers. I think his name is Ty Sheridan. He was pretty good as that role. I liked how you could kind of see him changing into the leader Cyclops that he was in the comics and stuff, and I feel like this version of Cyclops is pretty interesting. And I felt like Nightcrawler was pretty good too. I like that actor. His character was more comedic relief, but I like that character too. Of the new cast, I would say that Jean Grey was my favorite. I really liked her character in this movie. You could tell how tortured she was, how she was trying to keep her powers under control and stuff, and I felt like her acting was pretty good. It really makes me excited for the future of the X-Men movies, especially if they have this younger cast. I feel like I love the older X-Men characters too, but in particular I love Magneto. He gets a pretty weighty role in this movie. In this movie, he's kind of recluse. He's in Poland. He's hiding from everybody. He has a family and he has a daughter, and you kind of see him trying to have a normal life, and then tragedy happens and then becomes Magneto again, and he starts to use his powers again. It really feels really serious. Even though that kind of background is kind of generic, Michael Fassbender is such an amazing actor that he can make you feel for him for anything. I love how it made sense whenever he goes into his more evil tendencies, and it's just really compelling to me. I would really love a solo Magneto movie. I mean, the dude's almost 40 now, so I feel like they should kind of get going on that. But yeah, I'm a really big fan of Magneto and what Michael Fassbender brings to the role. Some things I didn't like about this movie, I feel like Jennifer Lawrence didn't feel like she wanted to be there. She seemed kind of flat in the scenes that she was in, and it seems kind of weird that she's in this movie still. If she, the younger cast seems like they're having a fun time with this role, but she just seems like she's kind of just there because she has to be, rather than kind of focus more time on the younger cast as opposed to Jennifer Lawrence. She doesn't seem like she wants to be there. Some of the cast doesn't get a lot to do in this movie. Beast, who's played by Nicholas Hoult, he doesn't get a lot to do in this movie. He's kind of just there for saying exposition stuff. Outside of Magneto and Storm to a lesser extent, the four horsemen that follow Apocalypse, they don't really contribute much. And there's some really cool characters like Angel and Psylocke, and I was really surprised that they didn't really do a lot with Psylocke, because in the trailers and stuff like that, in the promotion, it seemed like Olivia Munn had a pretty big role in this movie, but it seems like they cut it or something. And the same thing happened with Jubilee. She was pretty heavily featured in promotional stuff, so I figured she had a big role, but I don't know if she had maybe 2 or 3 lines. It was really weird. I felt like in the beginning of the movie, it was kind of dragging when they're kind of explaining Apocalypse's origin and stuff like that. I felt like that was kind of weird. I felt like it should probably be in a different movie. I understand they have to show his origin, but it just seemed kind of weird to me. I didn't like how this movie kind of was more of a monster of the week like movie. I like that the X-Men movies like tackle like kind of bigger issues. Like these movies are pretty much a metaphor for like racism. Like Magneto is kind of a stand-in for Malcolm X, and then Professor X is kind of a stand-in for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I like how these movies kind of, you know, tackle these bigger issues in these superhero movies, but this movie kind of seemed a little bit lighter, and it had to do with the villain. I felt like Apocalypse was really bland as a like supervillain. His motivations were just like, I want to cleanse the world, I just want to wipe everything away, but they didn't really like explain why he wanted to do any of these things. It just felt really flat to me. I didn't feel like he was really intimidating as a presence in this movie either. He was shorter than half of the horsemen that he was with, and he looked like Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers movie. He really looked really cartoonish, and it really kind of took me out of it. I feel like Oscar Isaac is a great actor. He gave everything to this role. He's one of my favorite actors out right now, but I felt like this role didn't really give him a lot to do. Overall, I thought this movie was decent. It did have some problems. I felt like the cinematography was really bright and vivid, and I like how this movie was filmed. I love the younger cast that they brought in, especially Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. The older cast, whenever they do get a chance to come on screen, are really good too. One of my favorite is Michael Fassbender as Magneto. I felt like Jennifer Lawrence kind of took me out of it because she seemed like she didn't really want to be there. I feel like some characters kind of got like side shafted in this movie, in particular Psylocke and Jubilee. Thought that there were some patient issues with this movie, and I felt like Apocalypse was kind of bland as a villain. Overall, I would give it a 7 out of 10. I didn't think that it was like a terrible movie, but there was definitely some flaws with this movie. Maybe the extended cut will kind of give me more answers to what I wanted. So yeah, that's my review of X-Men Apocalypse. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed. Thanks guys, bye.